Today, we're going to dive into a story about how one simple dish, just one meal, can do something absolutely incredible. We're talking about breaking down walls, bridging cultural divides, all through food. The simple story, yeah, but it's got a flavor that's seriously powerful.
So, let me ask you this. Think it's possible that a single dish could completely change how you see the world? I know, it sounds a little dramatic, but what if a meal could totally shake up a belief you didn't even realize you were holding on to? Let's get into it. All right, so our story kicks off in the crazy, bustling city of Delhi, and here we're going to meet a young woman whose world, and especially her menu, is very, very clearly defined.
Okay, so this is Swati. She's your typical college student at Delhi University, Super modern, living that fast-paced city life. And when it comes to her tastes, especially food, she knows exactly what she likes. She's got her favorites, and she pretty much never strays from that comfort zone.
And what's really telling is what's on our plate. You've got your global stuff like pizza and cold drinks, and then the comforting dishes from our own Punjabi culture, like kari pakora. See, this is her bubble, her world of familiar, easy flavors.
But then, one day, she's visiting her aunt and something totally new, totally unexpected enters the picture. Something that's about to challenge her entire idea of what's good.
So Swati's just hanging out at her aunt's house when this incredible smell starts wafting out from the kitchen. It's complex, it's super enticing, and it's like nothing she has ever smelled before. Naturally, she follows her nose, curious to see what in the world is cooking. But then she actually sees the dish, and that curiosity just evaporates. It turns straight into confusion. It doesn't look like anything she recognizes. It looks kinda, dry and a little weird, to be honest. So that amazing smell, totally forgotten. Her first reaction is all about how it looks. Her aunt just smiles and explains, this is panchkuta. It's this famous, really traditional dish from Rajasthan. And the name itself, panchkuta, literally points to the 5 unique dry desert ingredients it's made from. That's what gives it that distinct look and, of course, that incredible taste.
A little later, Swati's just watching, completely baffled as her cousins are practically fighting over the last spoonfuls of this panchkuta. And she's thinking to herself, what is the big deal? You'd think it was from some 5-star palace hotel. She just does not get it.
And right here, this is the moment. Her confusion boils over into a direct question for her aunt. And bam, she just lays all her cards, all her biases, right on the table. She creates this invisible wall between our food and their food. In her mind, that cultural line is super clear, super defined.
Well, little does she know, that assumption she just made, it's about to get completely flipped on its head. The real story behind this dish, it's not what she thinks at all.
And right on cue, the doorbell rings. And who is it? It's the neighbor. You know, the one who actually made and shared this so-called Rajasthani specialty. And here, my friends, is where the plot twist drops. So, the neighbor walks in, greets Swati's aunt with this big, warm hello in perfect, fluent Punjabi. The exact same language Swati's own family speaks. And in that single second, you can just see Swati's whole theory start to crumble. And here it is, laid out plain and simple. The assumption versus the reality. Swati was so sure, so convinced that the person who made a traditional Rajasthani dish had to be from Rajasthan. But the truth? The cook, a woman named Pramila, is Punjabi, just like her. So Pramila starts to tell her story. Turns out, years ago, her family lived in Rajasthan for a while. She fell in love with that amazing smell of panchkuta coming from her neighbors' homes. And get this, they didn't just share the food. They invited her into their kitchens, they taught her their recipes, they included her in their festivals. She didn't just taste their culture, she embraced it. And now she shares this dish as an act of love, a beautiful memory of that welcome. And this just perfectly sets up the real lesson here, doesn't it? This story isn't really just about a recipe. It's about what happens when we dare to look past the labels we put on everything and everyone.
Pramila puts it so well. She says, there shouldn't be any hesitation to adopt something you love from another culture. We're all part of the same country, and welcoming each other's traditions, that's what true unity actually looks like.
Hearing all this, you can just see it on Swati's face. She's humbled. She gets it now. She built this whole wall in her mind based on a name, on a label. She judged a dish, and let's be real, an entire culture, without knowing a single thing. And just like that wall comes tumbling down. And then, in this beautiful full circle moment, she turns to Pramila and asks the one question that proves her heart has totally changed. She doesn't see a strange dish anymore. She sees a story, a connection, and she wants to be a part of it.
So now that we get just how powerful this dish is, let's actually break it down. Let's look at the ingredients that make up this recipe for unity.
These right here are the punch, the 5 core elements. You've got gunda, kur, sangri, kamadia, and amchur. They all come from the deserts of Rajasthan. They're usually dried, which means they can be stored for ages. This is literally the taste of the land itself.
So you take these dried ingredients, you rehydrate them, and then you cook them in this savory, tangy mix of yogurt and spices. What you end up with is a dish that's both rustic and unbelievably flavorful. It's just a perfect example of making something incredible from whatever nature gives you.
And that really brings us to the heart of it all, doesn't it? The big takeaway. Swati's story proves that food is never just food. It's history, it's culture, it's a powerful invitation. Just sharing a meal can be that first crack in a wall you didn't even know you'd built.
So, I'm going to leave you with this question to chew on. What's your panchkuta? You know? What's that thing in your life? Maybe it's a food, maybe it's an idea, a kind of music, or even just a conversation you've been avoiding. What's that thing you've been judging from afar? Because who knows? It might just be the thing that completely changes how you see everything, if you just give it a real taste.